How do we handle somebody else's disrespect? In that situation, when it comes to somebody else, we never can control their behavior. We can never control what they say, what they do. But what we can control always is our response, right? And when I'm looking at how I can control my response, I kind of break it down into 3 areas. How can I control my thinking? How can I control how I feel? How can I control my action? So just to give some examples. So when it comes to my thinking, how much attention am I paying to this person? How much attention and energy am I investing into this person? How much am I allowing them into my life? Things we can consider is, just to keep them out of our mind space, maybe blocking them, right? Or limiting the ways in which they can communicate with us. When it comes to our feelings, one of the things we can control, right? We cannot control what they do or any of those things, but we can control our response, our emotional response. And what we can look at is like, do I have some form of pattern of reaction, of emotional reaction? Like, do we tend to get really angry? Do we tend to get really sad when we're triggered? Everybody has a different kind of emotional reaction, and I can definitely relate to the anger trigger, right? And almost having like an emotional addiction to anger. So does it happen to be that like a lot of times when something sets us off, that it triggers our anger, or that it triggers our anxiety? Like, again, everybody has a different thing. So just looking at like, what is my tendency of pattern when things don't go my way? Do I get really angry? Do I get really sad? Do I get really anxious? Like, everybody has something different. And we can start to look at like where that emotional response comes from, how we can be more in control of how we emotionally respond versus just going by our default. And then lastly is action, right? So how can I set better boundaries around this person? How can I communicate to them in a way to make it clear that I'm not allowing them into my space and to into like my life, right? Like, how can I maybe, block them on social media or do different things? It really is never about the other person. Everybody, if we look at them, is some form of everything that happens outside of us is some form of reflection of something inside us. And when we look at life that way, we allow ourselves to get out of being the victim of what's happening, and we start to take control. We actually start to see things change for us because we're no longer giving power to that thing outside of us. We're claiming the power inside. So this is a really, really powerful technique and choice that we get to make, is to not allow somebody else's disrespect, somebody else's behavior to control us. And it is not easy, for sure. I can definitely relate to that. But I will tell you, it's powerful. It's life-changing to start to make decisions with this in mind. Hope that helps.